What if your emotions aren't problems to be solved, but signals trying to guide you? Imagine that sadness, anger, and anxiety aren't flaws in your character, but important messages from deep within. If this idea already resonates with you, you're in the right place. Stick around, and maybe even consider subscribing. So why do our emotions feel so confusing? It often feels like they come out of nowhere, completely random and chaotic. But they aren't. Every single emotion is a piece of information. They act like a compass, pointing you towards your deepest needs, your personal boundaries, your core values, and even your old wounds that need healing. The suffering we experience doesn't come from the fact that we feel. It comes because we don't understand what we're feeling. The most powerful shift you can make is to stop asking, "How do I make this feeling go away?" and start asking, "What is this emotion trying to tell me?" Let's reframe this. There are no negative emotions, only uncomfortable ones. Think about it. Anger isn't just random rage. It's a signal that one of your boundaries is being crossed. Sadness isn't a weakness. It's a sign that you've experienced a meaningful loss. Anxiety isn't just irrational fear. It's your body telling you that you're facing uncertainty and need a sense of safety. Loneliness isn't a personal failing. It's a fundamental human signal that you need connection. And guilt, that's your inner compass telling you that your actions are out of alignment with your values. When you start to see the message behind the feeling, the emotion stops being a monster and starts becoming your guide. This brings us to a crucial point. Your emotions are not the enemy. The real enemy is disconnection. Disconnection from yourself. Every time you think, "I shouldn't feel this way," or "I just need to be strong and push through," or feeling this is wrong, you're building a wall between you and your inner world. You're disconnecting from the most authentic part of yourself. And here's the thing about ignored emotions. They don't just disappear. They get heavier. They fester. They grow louder and more disruptive until you finally pay attention. The paradox is that facing them actually makes them softer. Your feelings don't need to be suppressed. They just need to be acknowledged. They need you to say, "I see you. I hear you. You're here for a reason." So, how do we actually do this? How do we decode these messages? It starts with a simple, 3-step process. First, name the emotion. Give it a label. Say it out loud or to yourself. This is sadness. This is anger. This is fear. Just putting a name to it can take away so much of its overwhelming power. Second, acknowledge it without judgment. Let it be there. Remind yourself that it exists for a reason, even if you don't understand it yet. It's not good or bad. It just is. And third, get curious. Ask the question, what need is this emotion revealing? What boundary is it pointing to? Maybe your anger is revealing a need for respect. Maybe your anxiety is revealing a need for clarity or preparation. The key is to respond to the underlying need, not just react to the surface-level emotion. This entire process, naming, acknowledging, and investigating, is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Just pause for a moment and imagine this. What if you stopped judging your feelings and started listening to them instead? How different would your life feel? How much more connected and authentic could you be? If this question opens something up inside you, if it feels like a doorway to a new way of being, then I really encourage you to subscribe and explore this path with us. Let's break down what some of the most common emotions are trying to tell you. When you feel sadness, it's because you've lost something that was meaningful to you, a person, a dream, a period of your life. When you feel anger, it's almost always because a boundary was violated or an injustice occurred. Anxiety is your system trying to prepare you for a perceived threat, signaling a need for safety or clarity. Loneliness, as we said, is a biological signal for connection, just like hunger is a signal for food. Shame is the painful feeling that you are flawed and unworthy of belonging, pointing to a deep fear of rejection. That feeling of numbness, that's often a sign that you're completely overwhelmed and your system is shutting down to protect you. The problem is never the emotion itself. It's the misunderstanding of its message. Unfortunately, there are a lot of myths out there that block us from achieving this kind of emotional clarity. You've probably heard them. Myth number 1. Strong people don't feel intense emotions. This is completely false. True strength lies in the courage to feel everything and still move forward with wisdom. Myth number 2. Emotions make you irrational. Actually, it's the ignored and suppressed emotions that make you irrational. They build up pressure until they explode in reactive, illogical ways. Understood emotions lead to very rational choices. Myth number 3. Time heals all wounds. Not quite. Time can dull the pain, but awareness is what truly heals. It's the understanding and processing of the emotion that brings resolution. And finally, myth number 4, emotions must be fixed. Your emotions don't need to be fixed, they need to be understood. So how do we make this a part of our daily lives? It's about building small, consistent habits. Start by regularly asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? Just check in. When you feel a strong emotion rising, practice pausing for a few seconds before you react. Take a deep breath. Breathing helps regulate your nervous system and gives you space to choose your response. Be curious about your feelings, not judgmental. Treat them like a curious scientist would, not a harsh critic. Find safe ways to express them: journaling, talking to a trusted friend, moving your body. As you do this, you'll start to notice patterns in your emotional responses, and you can even expand your emotional vocabulary beyond just mad, sad, or glad. These simple steps, practiced over time, create profound clarity. Ultimately, emotional clarity equals freedom. Understanding your emotions doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. Life will always have its challenges, but it erases the confusion and the feeling of being controlled by your feelings. It means you can feel sadness without drowning in it. You can feel anger without exploding. You can love others deeply without losing yourself in the process. That is the heart of emotional maturity and freedom. So let's go back to that first question. What if your emotions aren't obstacles on your path, but instructions for the journey? Every single feeling you've been avoiding holds a key to your own growth. Emotional intelligence isn't about controlling your emotions, it's about understanding them. And through that understanding, you finally, deeply, come to understand yourself. If this conversation brought you any clarity or a sense of hope today, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening.